Oh, we should send a notification to everyone in the Grove. Kusha, could you do that?
Aye, Captain. But wait a second, I gotta open up a brand new screen. I'll just do it on my phone. Oh, guys, also hit the like button when you're on the video, on the live stream.
Good morning, folk. We're going to be beginning in around 5 minutes or less, actually. Kind of already begun. It is the weekend, so I hope you guys are having a great one so far. In the meantime, those of you who are watching on YouTube, let us know if the audio is a-okay. And those of you having issues on Discord, join on YouTube. Chris, I'll have the link for you guys very, very soon. Awesome. Thank you, Hani. Music's not too loud, eh? Fix that. Hey Keisha, how's it going? All right, so I've reduced the audio a tad bit. We also do have two very, very, very special guests here. We have the legend, Vinny. Oh, I mean, Frasier. Oh, man. But yeah, how's it going, man? How's it going? You want to give yourself a quick introduction? Tell everyone how far back we go, all the way back to 2016, 2017 era. Oh man, you guys have no idea how much of a legend this dude is. This guy is one of my closest friends in the crypto space, and man, so good to have you back, buddy. So good to have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long time.
What have you been up to, man? You've been trading or taking a break from the charts?
Just taking a break mainly. It's yeah, just been enjoying myself recently.
Can't blame you, man. Can't blame you. 2017, 2018, 2019, those were tough years. Those were tough years. Those were the years we grinded. Those were the years that counted. And we have the beautiful Krisha here too. Krisha, say hi.
And what's up, you guys? How's everyone doing?
So Krisha, we have Trader Frasier here with us. It feels surreal. Eh? I'm still trying to take this in fully because I'm getting all these memories back. Those years when we were like trying to navigate through the crypto markets, trying to figure it all out, trying to learn how to trade the volatility, trying to risk manage the amount of hours we spent grinding on the Ichimoku charts. Trader Frasier, man. Do you remember the charts we would be sharing with each other every single morning, evenings, nights, afternoons, every altcoin, grinding through all of them? Jesus, good times.
So much, yeah.
So
much pain, but it was good.
The pain forged who we are today. I'm going to be asking you a ton of questions today, man. So you better be ready. You better be ready to dispense your sage wisdom to everyone, right? Not just in regards to how to make profits, but mostly how to survive in these markets, because there were times where both of us, you and I, both got knocked out, almost got knocked out of the game, and we had to, learn the hard way. we didn't have a community like Mango to tell us, hey, don't do this, hey, don't do that. We just had to get wrecked. We had to get kicked in the nuts, essentially, to learn what we did.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be drawn. Like, there's so much that we learned from just the experience, right? And that's why, like, even Sean, that's why when, you taught people the C program, it was always about that psychology. That's why it always came first. Psychology is everything. Because ultimately we'll all have our own trading styles, right? Because we all have our own personalities. If there's one way to last in this world, it's about trading your personality. But even in order to do that, you need to really have a good set of grasp of your personality, who you really are. And trading brings that out of you. Like, you cannot lie to yourself about who you really are. And so psychology is everything. And if you master that, not only will you be mastering, certain very, very key facets of trading, but that also sort of spills on over to other facets of your life.
So, let's start there. And we're going to ask Trader Frasier what he was able to learn about himself through his journey, because it's been years now that he's been navigating through the markets, and I'm pretty sure he's always discovering more about himself. But Winnie, if I had to ask you, what was the biggest lesson you learned about yourself?
I would say the main thing would be like learn how to survive, and don't try to just 100x your account in like first months, like chasing pumps. The main thing is just like consistency. And like a huge factor for me was like actually like tracking and looking over your weekly trades.
So
yeah, if you're not looking at your errors, then you're just going to keep making them, and then that just becomes like a loop of just constantly losing. And then if you're not looking into why you lost, then eventually you go to zero.
I think a huge reason people don't figure out why they're really losing as well is because, or rather, people don't figure out that they're making the same mistake over and over again is because they're constantly jumping from strategy to strategy to strategy, right? I think if you pick one strategy and you try to execute on the strategy and you keep realizing that, wait a minute, I'm making the same mistake over and over again, it's a lot easier to see. But when you jump from strategy to strategy, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint where you're going wrong. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would say, depending on market conditions, at minimum, try one style of trading for a week. Journal everything, log it all, see how you did, and then if it doesn't fit your style or personality, then try another style or strategy. The worst thing you can do is like have like 2 or 3 losing days, and then you kind of switch the plan, start trading another way, and then like have another multiple losing days, and now your whole week's red. When if you would have stuck to the first plan, by the end of the week you could be in the green.
Yep, well said. And over here you're referring to people who are day trading, right? Who are taking frequent trades throughout the day, not just people who are taking one trade a day based on the daily time frame. Because in that, if you're doing that, you want to stick to a strategy for at least a month, not even just a week.
Yeah, for sure.
So you'd say it's more so the amount of trades that you want to put on to figure out whether the strategy is for you or not. So if you're trading the lower time frames, by all means, you could trade for 1 week and realize, you know what, this strategy is not for me, because by the end of the week, I think you would have put on at least like 20 trades. I don't trade the low time frames much anymore, but I'm guessing people would put on maybe 3 trades on a particular day, 5 trades on another day. Let's say a maximum of 20 trades by the end of the week in the crypto market, considering you're trading 7 days a week. So, or would you say that's a bit too much?
Like it really depends. Like I never traded like super long or super short time frames. Like I would say minimum I would go would be maybe 15 minutes to an hour. But it depends on market conditions, right? But like the main thing is like don't keep, if you're losing and you think you're losing because of your strategy, don't just change up your game plan and start like trying to trade high time frames and like take a trade off the daily and then you lose like a 4-hour level and then all of a sudden you're looking at 4-hour and then you see a 15-minute setup. It can just become a mess if you start like changing your plan midway through the week or month.
Yeah. For sure. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh no, I think that hits pretty hard, and I think I was victim to just that sort of situation where I kept like constantly, when I started that, is I kept constantly changing my plan. And the thing is that if you're not, and this is why, guys, I always implore you guys to sort of note down your hypothesis on, and especially on which time frame you're playing, right? Because you'll fall into this trap of like constantly changing time frames in one trade. So you probably, your hypothesis was maybe on the daily time frame. Suddenly you find yourself looking at the 12-hour, right? Especially if the trade is going against you, that's when you fall sort of prey to really boiling down on your time frame. So you start off with the daily, trade is going against you, then you're like, okay, what's the 12 hours saying? What's the 4 hours saying? What's the 30 minutes saying? And now you're making decisions on like the lowest freaking time frame and you're getting scared out of your position. So I think that's it's a good thing you sort of noted that, because I totally see people actually falling victim to that sort of situation when it comes to trading, that sort of psychological trap.
Yeah, like especially when you're new. Like I feel like most new people, like especially myself, thought like more trades equals more profit. So like you wanted to be in the market as often as possible, but like as time went on, like you start learning that like less can be more.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of that. Less is more, because the biggest Excel or rather tracking realization that I had when I looked through all of my trades was that I realized that I would have come out way ahead if I had just eliminated a few trades out of my entire list of trades, right? So what people don't realize is that by the end of the week, if you can implement a strategy that avoids a couple of losses, right, more than you would have otherwise taken, your overall PNL is way higher. So avoiding a loss is just as important as being able to make a profit, or even more important in crypto, in my opinion, because those losses can get very volatile and eat into everything that you have by the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, right? That's happened to me, especially when I'm looking at my performance over a 6-month basis, where I'm like, damn, had I just not taken that one trade or those 2 trades over there, I would have been way better over the long run. So less is more for me.
Yeah. And also, like, this also drives, and by the way, when the bull market begins, right? So we know that when the bull market begins, you see like these crazy freaking trends. And the popular saying is you can I'm not gonna call it a popular saying. And I'm forgetting the sequence. Perhaps Sean, you can sort of chime in and remind me. Is that you can also go broke taking your profits too soon, right?
Oh no, this is
And
my favorite saying.
yeah, so could you maybe I'm so bad. My memory's so bad with these sort of sayings. Sean, are you able to chime in? Do you remember how it went?
Of course, it's my mantra. Amateur traders go broke not taking their losses. Professional traders go broke taking their profits. So
There we go.
it's one of the core. I mean, not everyone believes in this though, right? But I do, especially when you're trading in crypto. If you're gonna go for the win, might as well just go for the big win. Or you could just trade forex or traditional markets and take your profits often.
Yeah. But taking your profits often means that you don't ever take out enough to pay for your losses. The thing about trading, guys, you'll never have a system that's 100%, right? There's always going to be some sort of percent where, it's a losing trade. So it's about when you have like a streak, and sometimes yes, you can have a losing streak on your system, but when you start winning, if you take your profits too early, you'll never take out enough to maybe pay for the losses that you took. Right? So that's why you can also go broke. Professional traders go broke taking their profits too damn quickly. So when it comes to a bull market, what you're looking for is to ride that trend.
Indeed.
Right? So don't get too sort of scared out of your positions. Follow your system, follow it to the T, because more often than not, if it's a good high level system, it's likely going to keep you in the trade if you're okay with some of those minor pullbacks.
So speaking of systems and higher time frames, I'm currently looking at Bitcoin on the 4-day time frame at the moment. We can now move on over to the charts. I want to know what Trader Frasier's opinion is of the current juncture that Bitcoin is sitting on. We'll then talk about Ethereum, and then we'll move on to Ethereum BTC, right? The ETH BTC chart. So, Frasier, thoughts on Bitcoin? What time frame are you particularly looking at the moment? And I'll switch on over to that time frame. Do you want to share your screen, man? If you do, I can show your screen to everyone. It's only if you want
Sure.
to. If not, I can just switch on over here.
For Bitcoin, like I'm pretty much just looking at weekly.
Okay.
And like the current weekly consolidation. For me, if you take the low on June 1st and then the high on July 1st, like I'm pretty much waiting for either one of those to break, because after, like, it's pretty much been going sideways for like how long? Like almost 3 months. So whenever this breaks out of consolidation, like I just wouldn't fade that trend. And kind of on the fence on if I think it's like up or down at this point. Down targets would be like 14K to 10K, and up targets would be 5K.
What were your up targets? You cut off there.
Oh, sorry. 35K would be a spot where I would expect sellers to step in.
I believe 35K is a key. Oh yeah, that is the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud too, man. I'm not sure whether you're looking at it. I'm not sure whether you look at Ichimoku anymore, but it is the bottom of the weekly cloud.
Yeah, so like it really just depends what happens. I'm not a huge fan of how we've basically rejected off the weekly 200 right now. But like at the same time, we're basically retesting previous all-time high, like 2017 all-time high, and like selling here to buy back lower doesn't make sense. Shorting a trend trade short down to 14K, like the RR, doesn't really make sense either.
Yeah.
So at least like on weekly, like if you want to drop it.
So you cut off for a tad bit again over there. Could you repeat your last sentence?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me fix my. Okay, this should be good now. I don't like that we've rejected off the weekly 200, but at the same time, bears haven't really followed through with any sort of like huge downward pressure. So I don't know. It's been pretty boring, honestly, and like pretty much when this consolidation ends, I just wouldn't fade the direction that it goes.
Indeed. I do agree with you in that it's been boring, and usually when it's boring, I tend to say, you know what, this is likely showing me that the market participants at the moment are playing the higher time frames, and they're playing off the higher time frame levels, which again is the weekly, like you mentioned, and the monthly too, right? I think the monthly is seeing a lot of play in conjunction with the daily and the weekly. If you use the monthly as a guiding focus, there's a lot of alpha there. And I do want to bring up something that I posted on the Discord chat, a video, a recap from the BYAC series. So I'll do that in a second. But I wanna come back to what you mentioned about the weekly 200, because I think it's really interesting. The weekly 200 has been like the big indicator that a lot of people are watching, right? And considering we lost it, it's extremely bearish. I completely agree, but you'd also have expected to see a swift move and continuation towards the downside, relentless selling against the trend of the weekly 200 being lost. Now, we're not seeing that. Instead, we're seeing consolidation right underneath it. And this is lining up with something that both of you, Krisha and Frasier, both of you will probably remember from the 4-day time frame leading back to 2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019 Christmas, right? When we lost the 4-day 200 moving average, I was expecting a big move towards the downside, continuation. But that's not what we saw. We saw consolidation underneath it. So if you guys switch on to your 4-day time frame, go back to around December to Jan 2019, you're going to see like this consolidation right underneath the 4-day 200. And we then had that upthrust back into the big consolidation range from early 2019, and then the COVID dump, right? So I'm wondering whether we see something like that and we meet Frasier's monthly level of around 35K, weekly level of 35K, and then we see the big move that everyone is expecting to happen now. What do you guys think of that theory of consolidation underneath the weekly 200 actually pushing price up?
That's I feel like that would catch a lot of people off guard. Yeah, guy, I like that idea, honestly. Like, I think if shorts start getting pressured, like it'll rip up. But like after 35K, like, well, basically, like I don't see a new all-time high, like coming within like the next year or so, personally. So like if we push up, I think that would just be a lower high. Like at least like we'll have to see what happens after that push, if it happens, but I think a lot of sellers will step in at that point.
I think so too. I don't see us seeing a all-time high this year for sure, and there's a good chance we don't even see it leading into 2023. Maybe towards the end of 2023, but I don't think so. I think the best people could hope for is a revisit of close to all-time highs, right? But not I don't think we break all-time high, not convincingly so at the very least. What are your thoughts, Krisha?
I'll say this. Yeah, I think the thing that you proposed in terms of, getting up to 35K if Bitcoin actually rallies from here, and at least the last quarter of this year looks good. 35K is on the books. I think that is definitely going to be a very, very important region of contention. Okay, we're going to see sell pressure there, but if for whatever freaking reason, okay, the bulls managed to freaking break that 35K level, I'm saying party is on. For me, I know this is going to sound bold, I'm saying we're getting back up to 60K.
So break that down for us again. Which level? 35K? If we break 35K?
35K weekly cloud level, right, is I think what you guys are looking at right now. Is maybe slightly underneath it. What is it? Yeah, slightly underneath that weekly cloud level, right? Do you see the weekly cloud?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
35K. I'm saying that, okay, we managed to get up there. We could see sell pressure, but if the bulls come in stronger at 35K and we take that region out as resistance and it then turns into support, I'm saying this party is on and we're getting up to 60K. We're getting back up to the highs once again.
Yeah, we could get up to highs. I just don't think we're breaking it. And honestly, I don't think we get up to the highs either. I'm not going to be convinced until I see the cloud flip green. Krisha, if you look at the cloud, we are literally looking a lot like what we were at 3K. Now, while I'm looking for a bounce over here and potentially a rally, it's going to be a lot like 3K, where the cloud was red. It got everyone excited and we'll rally into the cloud, perhaps even have the Kumo twist breaking having moved right through the Kumo twist. It's all looking so identical, but 50K, right? As long as the cloud is red, you shouldn't be looking for all-time highs breaking. You shouldn't look for it. It could happen, but I don't think we should look for it. It's just not prudent. The cloud flipping green again, which could happen after a rejection and consolidation and getting us a higher low on top of the cloud. Yeah, okay, I'll be like, okay, cloud is green again, because if you just, it's been as simple as that, right? Bitcoin's cloud turns green, you start looking bullish, and the cloud turns green 30 days before, right? Like, because the cloud is drawn 30 days ahead of price, right? So if you look at when the cloud turned green, even back in 2020, it was when we were around August. Around the time we started getting extremely bullish based on the monthly closes on Bitcoin. So those are my thoughts. Frasier, rebuttal, agree, disagree?
I'm sorry, I was away for a minute or two.
So essentially, Krisha is saying that Krisha's argument is that if we do break the bottom of the cloud, which is around 35K, we're likely going to get back all the way to all-time high 65K. I'm saying that as long as the cloud is red, we shouldn't be looking for all-time highs, period. Weekly cloud.
Yeah, like, I just don't see the narrative for Bitcoin making a new all-time high like anytime soon. So like even if we push up to the cloud, like I just think so many underwater sellers will just step in. Like I think it'll take a while, like at least build a base, like maybe a lower high. Like I would bet on a lower high and then like at like 35K and then like a higher low, like maybe around like 26. And then like at that point, I also think it'll be like potentially like April or May next year. And then like we'll see like how things are going. And then like we can start building a case for like a new all-time high, like rally, like maybe late next year-ish or something.
So Ryonin has a really good question. Where does the liquidity come from for a push to 35K? I think we'll all agree on the answer over here, but I'll let you answer first, Frasier.
Well, like I would say like a short squeeze would definitely push people,
yeah,
or like force people out essentially. Like with such a violent move down, like pretty much straight drop, you would expect a similar move to the upside.
Yep.
So if there's a straight drop, then like there's essentially no resistance, and like the drop was caused by long liquidations, and the same thing repeats for short liquidations. So if we have a push up, if we have a violent move up, I would think we hit around 30K ish, like that consolidation before the recent big drop, and that would probably be a straight move up and then consolidate and then another move up to like 35K ish.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So most of the move that you're going to see coming in once we clear the weekly 200, weekly 21 EMA, etc., is going to be from shorts feeling pressure on their positions and beginning to close out their positions, either taking profits or buying at higher prices. So that's one really good way of thinking about how markets could move, guys. Think about the market participants and how they are possibly going to be reacting at certain phases and certain prices of the market, right? So the first move to 35K, we've established that it's likely going to come from shorts being pushed out of the positions. But now, what's it going to take for price to actually break all-time highs or reach all-time highs the way Krisha is looking for it to happen, right? Let's play devil's advocate on my own theory that we don't get up there. I think the only way we actually get up there this year or within the next like even 8 months, 9 months is if we start seeing people who hedge at the levels Frasier and I are thinking we see those hedgers come in at around, let's say, 50K, 42K, whatever, right? People who are going to start looking to sell because they were underwater, because they bought at levels at that seemed like good prices at the time that are now sitting underwater, and they've been feeling pain for a really, really long time, and that pain begins to build up, right? And you're like, damn, if price ever gets back up to 35K, price ever gets up to 50K, I'm going to be hedging, I'm going to be selling, I'm going to take some liquidity back, because these are essentially what market participants would call paper hands, right? Or Bitcoiners would call paper hands. They don't have conviction in the long-term vision of Bitcoin, and they didn't buy the dip because they're looking to hold for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. They bought the dip because they were looking for the 100K move that, what's his name on Twitter? What was the guy's name? The guy who's posting that chart. That's all. 100.
I'm not sure the
guy who kept posting that
the 100 trillion or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, right. So there was this huge move that was pushed by Raul, etc. too, right? That whole the Bitcoin stock to flow ratio. Yeah, stock to flow ratio.
Yeah.
Plan B.
Yeah, plan B.
Plan
Holy
B.
shit.
Yeah, you guys, don't kill me.
Oh,
that's funny.
Oh, God.
I haven't heard of that guy in so long. That's funny.
Oh goodness. People were freaking railing on him, eh?
Well,
I think he got a shit out of the stick, and that's the thing with systems, and it goes. I mean, if something is too freaking overcrowded, there is a low sort of probability, or rather, the probability is it's a diminishing probability of it actually playing out when everyone's freaking eyes are on it.
Well, if you read enough of financial history, or even study the top traders and investors, you're going to see that one of the things that points to immaturity or amateur investing is building a model and expecting it to play through, right? Which is why you don't see any experienced investor or any experienced market participant rely on models. Even though Saylor's such a bull, every time he was asked about the stock to flow ratio or stock to flow model, he kept like dismissing it. He's like, no, models always break, because I don't think you can be a experienced market participant and believe in models, because they're not supposed to work. They're not. Anyways, that's a topic for a different day. We're going to get into
it works
the weeds.
when you're trying to get investors to invest into your fund.
Yeah, yeah, that's when it works. Because and amateur investors again, right? Because amateur investors want a guarantee. They want guarantees of success. But an amateur investor doesn't want to hear, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to risk manage against what I don't know. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, I know what's going to happen. They want to hear certainty. They want to hear that, hey, look at this model. It's mathematics. It needs to go there. That's what they want to hear. So they get.
If you would have bought 10 years ago, you would have made this following this strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, it's all BS. Like, markets are fluid. Things are changing like
All
every
Markets are
tick.
dynamic.
Like, yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to what we were talking about, though, because I think this is really interesting. What's it going to take for price to actually push up to all-time highs? There are lots of traders who bought the dip at 50K, at 35K, and they didn't do so to hold for the next halving or the halving after that, right? So when I told everyone at Mango that, hey, by the way, guys, I did buy the dip too. I did buy 35K. I did buy at higher levels, but I did so letting you guys know that this particular buy over here is going to be for 2028, for 2030, etc., etc. But the buys that we made through leverage plays, those were for shorter moves that we got out of immediately, right? Now, there are other traders who bought spot at 35K, 50K, and they have no conviction to hold to 2028, right? Their thesis had no fundamental reasoning whatsoever. It was literally based on Plan B's stock to flow model. So, Trader Frasier's right. When price comes up over there, they're going to feel pressure to sell. But if price gets up there, and then it keeps going, and those people sold, just providing liquidity to the market who did want to buy. If price keeps going, you're going to start seeing those traders or those investors have the same emotions as the short sellers at 35K or at 25K. You're going to start seeing them feel, oh shit, I bought at 50K, I sold, and now price is sitting at 65K. I need to buy back fast before I miss out on my position and price goes to 100K, right? And you end up having them buy the top of the markets, and we see a little bit more of an upthrust to around 70K, 80K, and then we come back down again. So I see traders or investors being forced back into position at higher prices. I think that's what's going to push the market up higher. Thoughts on that theory, thesis?
I totally agree. Like that's pretty much how every crypto market cycle works. Like maybe not so much. Where like with Bitcoin, it would be the same thing, but it would just take like institutions and way larger amounts of money. But like that for retail, like that's essentially how like every single altcoin pump happens. Like someone will like buy, you know, some like micro or like small cap altcoin. You make like 2x on it, sell it, you're happy, and then your friends still hold or whatever, and now they're up 5 and you're sweating it out like, oh my god, like I could have been up 5x, I'm gonna buy back. It drops 40%, you sell. Like meanwhile, like all the market makers and like actual traders are just riding the whole thing out, but like these people are just providing liquidity at the top and bottom.
Yep.
Throughout the whole ride.
I think there's a famous saying by Keynes that is quoted by Warren Buffett often too, where he says, "There's no greater poison than watching your neighbor make more money than you."
Yeah, it's so true.
How much FOMO did we feel in 2017 when everyone in BMC was like freaking 100xing, etc.?
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Plus we were all like new too, so no idea what was going on.
Those numbers seemed ridiculous, man. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, the craziest part about all of that was like back then there was no like leverage. Like I'm not even sure if derivatives, like was BitMEX around?
Yeah, BitMEX, but it wasn't used as much. It was only Bitcoin on there, pretty much. Ethereum came on later.
Okay.
I think XRP too. Don't remember. But do you remember the mood back then, Frasier? A 10x felt like, oh, you didn't make enough. Just think about that. A 10x was like, oh, that's it, really?
Like you failed.
Yeah, you failed.
Like,
yeah. And
yeah,
dude,
no, it was wild.
The big warning signs for me in this most recent these market conditions was when on Twitter I was hearing these big names, Zuzu, especially right from 3 Hours Capital. They were saying things like, "Oh, all your yielding is 15%. You're doing it wrong if that's all you're getting." And I'm thinking, "Holy shit, man, what is going on?"
The craziest part about
yeah,
like the crazy like fading like him on Twitter was like always a thing. Like whenever like you could just like pin his tweets on your charts and like he would just like tweet bullish stuff at the top, and like everyone thought that like he was just counter trading like the liquidity he would bring in by like tweeting out some like random like bull-tard stuff. But then like the actual fund blew up.
yeah.
So like he was like believing all the stuff he was saying, and like yeah, that blows my mind.
So he was actually getting wrecked. It wasn't just that he was pump and dumping on Twitter. He was actually getting wrecked, and they just had so much liquidity they could handle it until they couldn't.
Yeah, like it. Yeah,
It's
like
nuts.
that whole situation still blows my mind.
It's gonna go down in history, man. They're gonna write books about it, right? We're gonna and we're gonna be able to tell our kids we were there, we were watching this guy.
I saw that tweet. Yeah, like unbelievable stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think the audience watching right now too, they don't understand how iconic that moment was, right? The entire Do Kwon 3 Hours Capital. Like, it's gonna go down in history. Books are gonna be written about it. It's gonna be a seminal moment in crypto.
Yeah, like it's never happened before. Like that big of a blow up. Like it's wild.
You think it can't happen, but hey, we all outperformed 3 Hours Capital at the end of the day. Congrats to us. All right, so let's get back to the charts over here. We were talking about Bitcoin, okay, and we kind of laid out a potential, a few scenarios. The first bear scenario is that, of course, hey, if we do break these key levels over here towards the downside, we're all looking towards similar numbers, right? Everyone has these numbers in their head. Frasier, 13K, 10K, 9K, 8K. Everyone's talking about that. That's like the easiest trade right now. It's the easiest trade if you think about it, right? Maybe crypto gives us the easy trade, but when has it done so? When has
Well,
it
see,
gone?
it might be easy if you actually stick to that plan, but the main thing is not to get caught up in the chop right now,
Mm,
in my opinion.
that's true. I think the chop could be bigger than you think, though, right? I think the chop could be what we discussed in regards to the 4-day structure back in 2019. That could be the chop. The chop could be the move to 35K or maybe 30K and then the big move down. I just don't think the markets are going to be like, hey, we're going to give you a nice, easy candle close underneath so-and-so level, short it, and here's your money. If it does, we'll take it. We'll take it. Of course, we can't not. But what are the lower time frames telling you if you have to look at the daily? Is there anything you're seeing that could potentially line up with
Uh,
a move to the upside?
I mean, pull it
By
up
the way,
here.
Krisha, are you here? Because you've been muted if you've been speaking.
No, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I mean, like the lower time frames just look pretty rough. It's kind of like BART season back from like 2018.
Mm.
Like kind of just violent moves up, slow grind, violent moves down. Like it looks just pretty predatory.
Do you guys think we're sitting at 3K Bitcoin or 6K Bitcoin? And for the audience, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, we're basically asking the question, are we sitting in this phase of the market here back in 2018? Or are we sitting in this phase of the market here in 2019?
That's a good question, really. Do we get that 50% drop? I'm not sure. But like at the same time, like on SPX, I believe we will retest like the weekly 200 MA, and like we're currently trading within the cloud, more or less retested top of the cloud, and like now like we failed to break. We have the bearish TK cross, still trading within the cloud. Green cloud has a flat bottom, so like I'm betting on that being retested personally. So like if that happens, like what's gonna happen to crypto? Not sure.
I don't think crypto's going to do well. I don't see crypto holding while SPY makes a new low, mostly because there are lots of market participants who have entered from the equity markets who are still holding on to their crypto that may want to hedge, because Bitcoin is essentially because of the correlation it's been having recently with Nasdaq. You can essentially put a short position on Bitcoin to hedge against SPY going down, right? Just think about that, and I think that's also going to fuel the move towards the upside eventually, because if there are enough market participants putting short positions on Bitcoin to hedge against their positions on SPY, right, that could force them out of their short positions at much higher prices on a squeeze towards the upside. Because these inexperienced traditional market participants who are just entering crypto in the past 1 year, 2 years, they don't know how volatile Bitcoin can get towards the upside, and how fast, and how they don't have the time to react. Because you put on a position on Bitcoin in your traditional Monday to Friday trades, and then Bitcoin freaking pumps to the upside over the weekend, you're suddenly sitting in a gapped up position underwater, deep underwater, when you open up on Monday, right, in your traditional market. So
Yeah.
I think we have those kind of moves that people aren't expecting. So thoughts, Krisha?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just stepped away for a second.
So you missed everything I just said?
Hello?
Krisha, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear
Okay.
you. Yeah, no, I had to my earphones sort of gave out on me, so I had
Oh,
to
okay,
sort of
okay, okay.
change them up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So I agree with you, Fraser, that weekly 200 is looking very, very magnetic. But have you looked at the 4-day 200 and the 4-day cloud? It's what we've been looking at over here at Mango. It's a cloud that we've been trading over the weekly. And you're going to see the 4-day 200 getting respected so well, and the Ichimoku too getting respected so well.
Yeah. Uh,
Interesting, eh? Potential higher, lower.
yeah,
Here.
yeah, it's a tough call. Like for SPX, I've just been following it on weekly for like a while now. Like pretty much since beginning of the year. So I'm still betting on the weekly 200 MA retest personally. Not yeah, like maybe it's too obvious, I don't know. Like I was expecting it to hit the 200 like in June, and then like we kind of had that pump up and squeeze, take out like May high, very similar to how January high was taken by March, and then like sharp sell off. So I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Like yeah, that's just been my plan for a long time. So I'm still betting on that. And like with like the whole market looking like this, like I just don't know how things will be risk on. Like especially with like interest rates going up, like the housing prices in Canada, at least like I think they dropped like 25% in the last 2 months or something,
And
which will be pretty tough
it's going to
for
be a massive squeeze on people in Canada, in Australia, Europe too. They are getting squeezed on energy, and the States isn't doing any better either. But Canada and Australia are feeling some serious pain on housing at the moment because so many people are on variable interest rates too. Did you see the chart we posted on Mango? It was mind
No, I
blowing.
didn't.
So, um, someone posted a chart on Twitter that showed essentially the percentage of people who are on variable interest rates, who put on their mortgages in 2020. Okay, from 2020, the percentage of people in each of these countries that are on variable interest rates. Around 25% to 30% of the people in Canada who put on their mortgage rates are variable. They're on variable interest rates. Okay. And the way interest rates have been going up recently, they're getting squeezed hardcore because the average house in Toronto was like 1.5 million or something, right? And these people have bought multiple homes looking to turn a buck by renting it out. But now they're no longer making a positive ROI because they are paying that much more on their outgoings versus what they're getting, right? But here's the kicker. In Australia, 100% of the folk are on variable. 100%.
Really?
Yeah, that shocked me.
Is that their only option?
I don't know if there's anyone in the audience who could pitch in. It doesn't seem
That
like that.
seems- That's crazy. So like they like, wow, that is a scary place to like that's a scary spot to be in. Like if interest rates go up, like triple, like, and that would be like a jump from, cause like interest rates like a year ago were like 1.9 or something.
Yeah.
So like if they go up to like 4%, like your mortgage payments going up, like what would that be? Like almost 3x or something? Like,
They're already up like to 4.5. In I think in the States is like 6%, almost 5.9. It's ridiculous because there's a premium on the 10-year rate, right? So there's a squeeze there, and I completely agree with you. I don't see how the markets turn risk on while everyone's getting squeezed. When people can't pay for their roof over their head, how are they going to be buying crypto?
or
I
like,
I
or
have
anything.
a sort of another view on this. I think at least the way I'm looking at the numbers right now, we have a major driver. So okay, fine, interest rates are up. Why? Because the Fed has come in. They're like, we're pushing interest rates up, so interest rates are up, right? Why are they doing that? It's because of inflation. They're trying to curb inflation. Now, if you're looking at inflation, there's a bunch of variables that contribute to inflation. And I think the one that the world sort of saw a lot of pressure on was oil, the price of oil. And the thing is that as soon as gas goes up, everything goes up. Everything relies on gasoline ultimately, right? To get your goods into stores, to even build your homes, you know, gas is needed, gasoline is needed. So we saw the price of that face some serious pressure. That pressure right now is coming down. If you're looking at the price of oil, the price of oil is coming down. So I'm looking at that as, you know, a good sort of tick mark as far as one of the inflation variables is concerned, basically contributing to a lower rate of inflation. So we have oil. The war still persists, but as soon as there's some sort of resolution on that, and also now I feel like that sort of thing is dying down. However, I'm not going to speak too much on the war because I don't know too much, but that's another sort of, that's the second variable. As far as other commodity prices are concerned, I think we're seeing a bit of a round off on that too. We're seeing sort of price stabilize in a way. So we're seeing some of these inflationary variables actually come under control.
That's
All right,
fair.
so we have that variable right there. I was also yesterday I mentioned the PMI numbers. Now for those of you in the live chat right now, you do not understand what PMI is. That is the manufacturing index. Essentially a bunch of businesses and the manufacturing managers, they get together, right? They're looking at economic data. How much are they looking to produce? Okay, should they start their plants again? Should they go full throttle on the manufacturing again? So those numbers were down for a very, very long time. They were in a downtrend because, well, the economy wasn't looking really good. But now, if you look at some of the manufacturing numbers that are coming out, those numbers are taking a turn. I think that manufacturing process is starting again. As soon as it starts again, guys, you need to understand that we're getting into a brand new business cycle. What does a brand new business cycle do for us? Well, that also will contribute to things like employment. Employment is another variable that the Fed is looking at. Right? So we could start seeing a turnaround once we get better numbers coming in. And I think people should start looking forward and really looking at certain key variables, key numbers to be able to think ahead.
That's a really
Because
good
it's
point.
about thinking ahead that's going to keep you ahead of the game too. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, and I did the back testing as far as the numbers are concerned. When it comes to Bitcoin versus your traditional things like the traditional indices like SPY, for example, Bitcoin usually moves first, and then the other markets follow through as soon as the numbers start improving. As soon as the business cycle, I'm going to say the business cycle begins, Bitcoin is usually the first thing to move. So we could start seeing that moving into, say, end of November, December, maybe Jan. Basically, that sort of quarter. So I don't think that is something that should be dismissed.
I
And as soon as we get those variables coming in, the Fed is going to look at those numbers. What's sort of prompting their action right now when it comes to interest rates? What's prompting their action is the numbers. They're basically looking at the numbers and are like, no, this is not under control. We're going to freaking bump this baby up again.
So both of you have a really, really strong point, and I think we can combine the two together to get the entire story. We can get the big picture here. So what Frasier is saying is that normal households, retailers, etc., are not going to be risk on because they're getting so squeezed on everything. Completely agree with that. What Krisha is saying is that the numbers are going to start improving, and things like PMI, things like cost of gas, etc., they're all coming down. That's going to essentially bring the inflation narrative under control, at least temporarily. And I agree with that too. Now, what we need to understand is that markets don't bottom or markets don't rally from a bottom through retail participation. Like markets have bull markets through retail participation, but the bull markets start far off the bottoms, right? Like, for example, Bitcoin could rally from 3K all the way up to 6K, 8K, and then the retailers are going to start joining in to get part of the action, right? And the bull market continues while all the big money has already injected their liquidity. Now, if we take into consideration what we've discussed over the past couple of last live streams, where we have noticed that, wait a minute, everything is selling off, right? Everything's selling off, and the money market funds are freaking flush with liquidity. So there's a lot of liquidity just sitting on the sidelines waiting to get injected. That's not retail money. Okay, that's not retail money. These people aren't feeling the stress of their rent going up, their gas going up. These are wealthy people, wealthy institutions or households, etc., who are feeling the stress on their wealth eroding. So they are playing a game of musical chairs where they need to be in the dollar while prices are going down, but they need to get back into assets as soon as they think their prices are low enough, because they are playing the long-term game as well. So if we think about all the market participants, we need to understand that, hey, the liquidity for the bottom is going to come from the big money, and then the liquidity for the bull market is going to come from the retailers. So we could see a rally, right, to those numbers that we talked about in the beginning of the stream. But until what Frasier says comes to fruition, where we see retailers not feel squeezed, not feel the stress, we're not going to see a continuation of that rally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think retailers are squeezed enough right now, and I think where everybody's seeing it, retailers are definitely squeezed. So, and the thing is that look at what price is doing, right? Fine, we're sort of still in very much in this sort of range. So it really begs the question, who else is left to sell here? There's probably some last minute capitulations, but if it's retail capitulations, I mean, that's not really going to add up to much, really push the price down considerably, like in any sort of meaningful way. So I know I'm sounding very bullish here in a way, but I'm still bullish. I think this is the range. This is the bottoming range for me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll switch when we break freaking support. I have no shame in that. I owe that to myself and people I care about to switch sides when the time is right. But right now, that's not what the charts are telling me. And in fact, I want to bring up one signature to everyone right now who's in the live.
Do you want me to share your screen, or you good? Go ahead if you want
go
to.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Wait, oh no, I can share it from here, right? I'm supposed
You
to
gotta
share
share your
it from here.
thingy, and let me know when you're.
Share your screen. Oh man, I hope I get this right. I don't want to. Okay, there we go. And go live. Okay, perfect. You see my my chart.
Okay, cool. Give me a second.
Pan over to it.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to your thingy. All right, so people can see your screen now, Krisha.
Okay, cool. So the yellow horizontal lines that you see on my chart, guys, the vertical lines, apologies, that you see on my chart mark the halvings that we have one that's coming up, which is 581 days away. The previous one came in on May 2020, and the one before that came in on July 2016. All right, so there's a bit of a. I mean, I like doing this, as some of you probably watch my technical analysis videos. I like having fun with the charts, but we're on 581 days from the actual event, from the big halving event. And I want you to notice the last bear market where we actually hit 3K to the halving was around 532 days. Let's go back to this bear market of 2015, right? 2015, let's catch the low to the event. That was around 532 days. We're at 581 days away from the big event. Right? And usually when leading into the big event, we always see Bitcoin actually see that rally to the upside. Of course, this is also going to be, there were different sort of economic conditions there that we cannot ignore. But that's why I don't want us to ignore the improving conditions, the improving numbers that are coming out right now. I think that is also going to be very, very important to stay ahead. And usually from the bottom all the way to minimum, okay, leading into the event, at least in 2016, Bitcoin at least did a good 250% to the upside. Okay, then we had this cycle right here from the bottom leading into that next sort of high on the chart, the local high on the chart, which came in at around, I'll even take the candle body closes and not even the wicks. That came in at 261%. All right. So now if you do the same thing here, so we have like an average gain from the bottom that we could sort of go off on, right? So even let's just do a 200% from the bottom, right? Where will that take us up to? That could take Bitcoin up to $56,000. Considering, assuming that this is the bottom, of course. But looking at how many days out we are from the actual event, as well as how long price has been consolidating within this range. I think it's an interesting signature. So
I think so too.
I want to
It's actually
I
lining up with
want to
something I'm
see.
looking at too, Kusha. It's so weird that you're looking at this too. So I'll let you finish though. I'll let you finish.
No. This is what I want to say, and
Okay.
that's why I don't want anybody dismissing, the bullish end of things. I know that things are looking grim, but this is the time when things are looking grim, when there's blood on the streets, that you need to start looking ahead, right? Start looking at the numbers that actually matter. What is driving all of these things? What are the driving forces behind all the decision makers? And right now, the major driving force is inflation. Okay, what could curb inflation? Right? So I think there are these sort of variables that you need to stay ahead of, because CPI, what the Fed is going off of, is a freaking lagging ass indicator. Right? So it's very yeah, so just, eyes out, guys. Eyes and ears out on the key information. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Now you
Okay.
can
Cool.
get back on over to your chart.
Okay. Cool. So this is really it's this allows me to segue into what I wanted to talk about in regards to the BTC chart really well. So I want to hear your thoughts first, both of you. We'll start with Frasier. Frasier, at the moment, what do you think is a better play, Ethereum or Bitcoin? I just switched on over to the BTC chart. In the last live stream over here, this was the halving event, right? We did a live stream during the halving event, and we told everyone over here at Mango, hey, if you're trying to choose between Ethereum and BTC at the moment, we're sitting at massive resistance on the BTC chart. So be a little bit cautious, be a little bit prudent. Might be better off waiting for breakout and then getting back in, but it's a take profit zone for sure. And look at what BTC has been doing over the past few days. It's been dumping. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is a buy the dip opportunity for the BTC chart, or do you think we come down lower?
Like personally, I think ETH BTC chart is really tough to trade. It's kind of like very sharp, like boom and bust cycles.
Yeah.
So like I don't even trade ETH really looking at ETH BTC like too much. Like I rather just trade the USD pair, just because like the ETH BTC, like it's just like it's an ugly chart in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like you can get trapped so easily, and then it'll completely like reverse the move that you planned for, and then like it'll take like 3 months, and then it'll make it all back in 2 weeks. So like to get caught off guard trading, like I've just been caught off guard, like caught on the wrong side.
Too many times
Like,
with that BTC. Yeah.
well, just even like, yeah, like I just don't trade the I don't trade the ETH BTC chart. It's just too trappy, and like I find ETH USD just a lot more
Easier.
clear.
Yeah. I think Kusha agrees with that sentiment too, that Ethereum can suddenly surprise against Bitcoin in both directions. In both directions, it can be extremely fast to the upside and the downside. So, if I had to ask you a general question though, who do you think outperforms? Like, forget the trade, forget trading the ranges, trading the trend. Over the next 500 days that Kusha marked out, 482 days that Kusha marked out, so that's like a little bit, almost 2 years. Who do you think outperforms, Ethereum or Bitcoin? Because everyone's saying Ethereum. That's the consensus at the moment because of the POS merge. What are your thoughts?
Kind of a tough call.
It is tough. It is tough.
Like it, I think if BTC outperforms, yeah, I don't know. It's honestly a tough call, just because like ETH BTC could stay within this, like it's a massive range. Like it's 75% up, 50% down or so. It could stay sideways during that whole period, like kind of within the range that was set like May 2021 to like June, like those highs and lows. Like it could just stay within kind of that sideways range for you know, like the next year or
So,
two.
so you're looking at 0.08 all the way down to 0.06 or 0.05? What do you?
Pretty much, yeah. Like pretty much the bottom of that red candle you're on now, and then the top of that green candle that to the right,
I see. I see.
just one over.
Okay.
So like it could kind of stay, and like it at the same time it could stay there for like another year, and then like pretty much drop down to previous consolidation, which would be like 0.0420
Mm.
400.
Well, I'm
Like
looking for
that
that.
could have
I'm looking for that
it.
so badly, dude. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, like
That's
it wouldn't surprise me. Like, and the crazy thing with ETH is that like that move could happen in like 2 weeks.
yeah. It's why I'm just being patient. That's why it's over the past like month, maybe 6 weeks, I've been telling the community that I'm under allocated Ethereum. I don't have the position I want. And that's primarily because I'm waiting for this level, dude. 0.042, 0.041 ish. Let's go back and do a little bit of a history over here. I'm gonna pull out my weekly and the Ichimoku template real quick. So back when we were putting in this head and shoulders consolidation, I was really vocal about how we were going to break down. This was way before the most recent narrative on this. I think this was before Do Kwon and Three Arrows Capital too. I think somewhere, or maybe somewhere around then. Ethereum was putting in this head and shoulders consolidation, and we were targeting this move down to the bottom of the cloud and the weekly 200 exponential moving average, right? And it played out perfectly, dude. Played out perfectly. We see we tapped right there, and that would have been a good buy opportunity, but I didn't get a big enough position at all, because what I was looking for was this, like a low high at the top of the cloud and then a move down to 0.042ish, right? So I was looking for continuation, but instead what we did was, well, what Ethereum usually does, surprises you to the upside and broke back into the range. So do you think that there's a chance that we still come down there? I think you already answered that, though, that we could definitely come down there. And that's one of the things the theme does. It chops people on both ends. And if you're just patient enough, it gives you what you eventually would have gotten anyways. We had just waited. 0.042.
Yeah, like could that happen? Yeah, and like it would be a move straight down as well. Like it would happen in you know, like a day or two. But like for making like more Bitcoin or more USD, just like for me personally, like just trading ETH USD, because the moves on ETH USD are just as sharp, but just the USD chart is just like the price action on it, the trend,
Yeah.
like everything is so much more
ETH.
clearer.
Yeah.
Like, and trading leverage on like the BTC pair, back when I could use Binance, like it was, you know, so like you have to borrow like spot leverage or spot margin, whatever they called it, was just such a weird concept to me. And like you couldn't have like a stop and take profit. Like it was just so messy. So I never really
Yeah, I hated trading on
I
margin
never
on Binance.
yeah, it was just weird. But yeah, like ETH BTC chart is just gross to me.
So
I
let me let me set the stage over here. So this isn't about the question I'm asking is not in regard to trading the at BTC chart, especially on leverage, but more so allocating Bitcoin from your portfolio, right, to Ethereum, right? So let's say you're buying a long-term position on Ethereum for whatever reason. I think if you're making that decision, you want to buy as cheap as possible on the Bitcoin prices, right? Because you're allocating Bitcoin. You're not, the USD pairing is kind of irrelevant because you'll get that much more if Bitcoin is a lot more expensive compared to Ethereum. At the moment, though, Ethereum is pretty expensive in Bitcoin terms. So that
yeah, like
0.42 level is like weekly 200 as well, dude.
yeah, like I wouldn't be like trading my Bitcoin for ETH right now, expecting to make more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't risk shorting ETH BTC to make more Bitcoin either. Like
Well said.
ETH BTC chart for me would be long only personally. and I find that just a way easier play. But like you just buy at the extremes, and like shorting it would just be like I've never done it, and or I probably had back in like the BitMEX degen days, but
Yeah.
like that pair was so illiquid, like the wicks and stuff like that. That was like a war zone. But yeah, like I would never short ETH BTC to make more Bitcoin. At least like at like the like pretty much since the 2017 top, like it's more or less been like really slow consolidation. Like I think there's better alts to trade to gain more Bitcoin.
Definitely agree with that. Okay. So now that we set that stage, we're going to circle back to what Krisha just mentioned in regards to the Bitcoin halving. Okay, and we're going to combine the two. Bitcoin halving along with the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. All right. So I'm going to show you guys a chart over here that is essentially a inverse of the ETH BTC chart. So what this is telling you guys is, hey, for your Bitcoin, how much Ethereum can you get? Okay, so if you look at the right hand side over here, currently for each Bitcoin you're getting 13.86 Ethereum. And this chart is really, really interesting, especially if you mark out the halving cycles along with the macro high or lows on the monthly time frame, Frasier, on the ETH BTC chart, right? Or lower highs on the non-inverse chart. So and I found this, it's either coincidental or it's being traded this way. Okay, because I just went and marked out, hey, if I had to mark out the higher low that was set in on ETH BTC all the way back in Jan 18, and you and I were trading very, very frequently together back then, right? We were always cross-checking our charts, etc., etc. So you'll remember this period. You'll notice that Bitcoin had a run against Ethereum leading into that 852 days that Krisha mentioned, all the way to the top of the range. Okay, so that was leading into the halving event in May 2020. Okay, and that's when Ethereum had its run again. Okay, so guys, for those of you watching, if you're seeing price go up over here, it means that Bitcoin is outperforming Ethereum. Okay, if you're seeing price go down over here, it means that Ethereum is having its run against Bitcoin. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Uptrend means Bitcoin's outperforming. Downtrend, Ethereum's outperforming. Coincidentally enough, this happened leading that 852 days that Krisha has marked out on her Bitcoin USD chart. This was happening on the BTC chart as well, inverse, leading into the halving. So for 852 days, Bitcoin just rallied and rallied and rallied and rallied. Of course, there were months where Ethereum had its time, a couple of months here, a couple of months there. But for the long haul, Bitcoin just rallied into its halving against Ethereum. Okay, once the halving event was done, Ethereum was your play. Ethereum was the trade. Now, coincidentally, you're kind of seeing a high low being put in place over here, right? It's not confirmed yet. Of course, you're not going to know. This is only going to be confirmed once you take out this level over here at around 18.73 Ethereum. But if this is a high low, this is lining up with the fact that Bitcoin's halving is coming 852 days again from today, right? So this, sorry, I meant this zone over here. My apologies, I marked it out over here, yeah. So if we have a similar scenario, this entire zone would be 852 days. So if that plays out, it would mean that for the next 2 years, essentially, right, we may actually have a Bitcoin dominated market. Thoughts, guys?
I agree. And I think the biggest sort of indicator towards that is just the charts right now. The charts are literally sort of painting that picture for you. Yeah, I think it'd be prudent to give the TA the importance that it deserves right now, because it's literally screaming. That's how it plays out.
That's what Frasier's saying too, though, right? He's essentially intuitively understands that he wouldn't want to buy Ethereum here, expecting more Bitcoin, right? So what I'm trying to garner over here for myself, guys, is should I be giving up my Bitcoin for Ethereum, right? And this chart is telling me no, don't do it. The edge on the charts is not telling you to do that. But at the same time, I completely agree with Frasier that I wouldn't short Ethereum either. Okay, but I shouldn't be giving up my Bitcoin for Ethereum. Not here. I may get a much cheaper opportunity to buy Ethereum, where each Bitcoin will give me around 42 Ethereum, 32 Ethereum, and I think if you are looking to play the proof of stake play, where issuance has dropped from around, what is it, 12,000 Ethereum or something per day, I don't know, but it dropped around 78%, right, per day. If you're looking to play that, I don't think now's the time. I think the time may come when you're allocating Bitcoin at much better prices. So
What
go on.
what are your thoughts on like the kind of like Ponzi economics they added with the burn and reduced inflation?
Oh, dude, I wish you heard my thoughts a couple of days ago on the stream. I got really passionate about it, and I went on and on and on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, essentially, it's really disappointing to see what they've been doing, not just recently, but it's just been getting more and more drastic over the years, right? They're just narrative bandwagoning over and over again, and just completely changing their narrative each time over just to fit the market's current FOMO narrative, right? So just a few years ago, you had Vitalik bashing Bitcoin on how, hey, Bitcoin is deflationary and that is really, really bad, and Ethereum is inflationary and that's really, really good. Fast forward to today, they are actively implementing policy changes in their platform, in their economics, just to push that deflation narrative, just to push that ultrasound narrative. A few years ago, they were bashing Bitcoin for being sound money. Now they're actually trying to bandwagon onto that sound money narrative. It's and there was another thing that Vitalik posted, or someone else posted. It was a snippet of Vitalik talking about how, hey, with Ethereum, if you compare the proof of work scenario to proof of stake, in Ethereum, what we are looking to do is essentially control the laws of gravity, the laws of physics, by creating a simulated world. What proof of work does is it forces you into real world scenarios where there are all these rules that you need to abide by. But we don't want to abide by rules. We want to create a simulated world where we can create all the rules we want and have a far more flexibility. And I'm thinking, holy shit, how can you guys call yourselves ultrasound money when you say that, hey, we want the flexibility to change the rules whenever we want to. We don't want to abide by real life rules. It just all is so contradictory. It is also contradictory, and it only preys on people who don't know any better. People like me too, right in the beginning of my journey, where I thought Ethereum was the better option. Like when my professor said, hey Sean, you want to do a PhD? Here, I have this thing for you, it's called Bitcoin. I'm like, nah, I'm not interested in it, that sounds like a scam. But then she said, hey Sean, here's Ethereum, this sounds like something you might be interested in. And I'm like, oh wow, decentralized applications, that is so cool, you can do so much more with it. Yeah, for sure, Ethereum, I'm all in, I'm going to collect all the Ethereum I want. And that was me too. I was just as naive. I didn't know anything, and I got caught into that too. And that's what they're feeding into. They're feeding into the fact that we have created a society of people who are uneducated, naive, with no understanding of finance, economics, and that is all, it's all orchestrated, and they're feeding into that. So it's just kind of angering, because on one hand, you have them virtue signaling all the time. On the other hand, you're thinking, damn, these guys are so smart. These guys know better, but they're taking advantage of people. So yeah.
Yeah, like
my thoughts.
I think it's scary that they could just change, like not only like, not to do with like switching like to proof of stake, but like to change the like inflationary model.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and then go to like the like store value narrative, because the technology just doesn't work. So now everyone buys ETH to be what's right, like the burn is just so hyped now.
Yep.
So like if people are spending a bunch of money in gas, and like Vitalik was also like saying that Bitcoin's too expensive because transactions were like $25 or like maybe $50 in 2017. Meanwhile, like an ETH transaction a year ago was like $300 to mint an NFT. But but you burned ETH and now like the supply is deflationary. Like it just seems like so. It's crazy how they just completely flipped.
So I just pulled up a tab over here that shows this website that was supposed to be showing how Ethereum is going to be ultrasound money because it's deflationary, right? And this is like completely going the other way. It's funny to watch now. It's actually up 1,000 ETH. So much for that deflationary narrative. They also said that Ethereum is never going to go past the 120,000 Ethereum ever again, right? And we're already sitting at 120. Not 120,000, I mean 120 million. So they're already seeing 500,000 above that. There's another thing that they completely flipped narratives on, Vinny, if you do remember, all the way back in 2017. Vitalik was bashing Bitcoin for refusing to want to scale on layer one, right? On the base layer, right? He's like, no, you need to scale on layer one, which was the entire sharding narrative that they put out back then, which was so overhyped. I've written articles on it, right? I understood it in and out. And then because of what happened with the entire DeFi, they're like, oh, you know what? This is the better narrative, and we can't have both. We can't have sharding and we can't have DeFi at the same time. So let's throw away that narrative that I fought for so vehemently against Bitcoin, right? Where I bashed Bitcoin so much for it. Let's throw that narrative away and tell everyone, hey, we don't need to scale on the base layer anymore. Screw that. Never mind. We are going to scale on the higher layers, right? So the layer twos, etc., are going to scale. Instead, we don't need to scale anymore. Instead, let's be ultrasound money. It's you. If you're trusting your wealth with this, you can't do it. You can't reasonably do it. But if you're trading this, right, to make more alpha, to make more profits, by all means, right, it's just like any other shitcoin to me.
Yeah, like a trade's a trade. Like I think DeFi is cool, but like at the same time, like DeFi on ETH, it's just like you can't use it. Like especially like right now you could probably use DeFi, but like what's Gwei now? Like 5 or something? Like nobody's using ETH, so now you can use ETH. But when
the way you said that's so funny, so true. Nobody's using it, so you can use it, and that's always going to be the case. As soon as everyone starts using it again, you're like, no, I don't want to use it anymore, and that's self-fulfilling, right? And that completely contradicts the burn narrative of the burn fees, right? Because if you the fees component where half the fees are supposed to get burnt was supposed to feed into the deflationary narrative, but nobody's using it, so the fees are freaking stupidly low. And if they ever optimize Ethereum to be usable, the fees are going to be even lower. So it's not going to be deflationary. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and like fees, at least like from my understanding, like everything's paid in ETH. So like if ETH price goes up, the cost of using ETH will just go up as well, which will make it even more or make it even less usable for like the average person. So like it's all like counterproductive and like it makes no sense, but like everyone's just like so hyped about, oh, like ETH is burning now, but like meanwhile like none of the problems are solved. It's just crazy.
And they recruit these ETH maxis who you just follow them for a few weeks and you realize how inept most of them are. They say things that make me really, really facepalm, right? While there are, I don't want to call them, okay, so there are Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoin toxies, right? The Bitcoin leaders, they say things that make me go, wait a minute, that may not make too much sense, but I don't understand it entirely. Let me go read into it. Let me do some research. Let me figure this out. And then I realized, damn, there's more to this than I understood. With Ethereum, it's very rarely the case that these guys make me go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know what I was talking about. They know more than me. It's mostly these guys who don't have basic understanding of economics, finance, and sound money principles, and then they go and try to shill Ethereum as sound money. So it's like they have created a community of people who don't know any better but think that they know everything, right? Just like I was back in the day. And that's like the community, that community preys on people unknowingly, unwittingly, right? They don't mean ill. They don't mean ill. They prey on people who are just entering the crypto space, right? They go and prey on newer folk who know even less than they do. And the way I see this playing out in the long run, and tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Tell me if you see it differently. I think Ethereum is freaking awesome as a big incubator chamber for experimenting, for other projects to go ahead and look at them and go like, okay, cool. So that worked out. This worked out. Let's go ahead and do it better. We can do it more optimally, more efficiently, because Ethereum is centralized anyways, and people seem to accept it as a centralized solution. So let's build Solana instead. That is even more centralized. People are not going to care, because what people care about, only lower fees, transaction speed, etc., etc., etc. So Ethereum is going to be really, really great for being a experimental chamber, which is eventually going to give away market share to everyone else that is already proof of stake too, right? Who will start off as proof of stake. While the one thing that the team had going for them, which is proof of work, they gave away like idiots. They gave away. So Bitcoin now is the only real sound money with real ties to the tangible world that keep them disciplined, keep them real, keep them rule-based. While you're going to have Ethereum always competing with Avax, Solana, Matic, name it, Ethereum has a competitor now. Make sense?
Yeah, like totally. And like it'll be interesting to see what happens like from a regulatory standpoint. Like if the US based validator validates a like Tornado Cash transaction, like are they now liable, or like like the whole proof of stake move will just be interesting to see like how the US handles all of that.
It's also going to be interesting to see how the validators, right, the centralized entities like Coinbase, how they handle when they do get a tap on the shoulder from the SEC saying, hey, we need you to do XYZ. We need you to censor so-and-so transactions. You have the Ethereum community saying that, hey, if Coinbase censors transactions, we'll go ahead and slash them. But how are you going to do that with a clean conscience? Because Coinbase is using everyone else's funds, right? The people who are staking through Coinbase, they don't know any better. They aren't making the decision that Coinbase is going to be forced to make because the government is twisting Coinbase's arm. And these are all the long run things that people are going to find out, and it's going to be serious downward pressure on Ethereum, because as soon as the narrative starts forming, you're going to have people selling their Ethereum, withdrawing their Ethereum from exchanges just to not be part of that, and that's going to cause, it's going to be
I would say it's going to get messy. And like people in the US, Coinbase like might be your best option, like especially seeing how like all these other like smaller smaller companies like handled user funds. Like if I wanted to stake through a third party, like Coinbase would be the safest option in my opinion. But at the same time, now Coinbase has your voting rights, and they run the validator, and they can blacklist transactions and make it more and more centralized. So yeah, it's a tricky situation. And like at the same time, like gas fees still haven't been solved, so like ETH is still not usable.
Exactly.
But there is the burn, so
there's the burn. Speaking of that narrative of the burn, right, which is it's dying as we speak. Like if you're looking at my screen at the moment, that deflationary narrative is dying, and the merge excitement is dying even faster, because these events, as soon as it happens, it's like, oh, okay, where's my pump? And the best thing that could have happened for Ethereum to keep that excitement going was to pump, and it didn't. It's dumping, and it's dumping not just on the USD pairing, it's dumping on the Bitcoin pairing as well. So that narrative has taken a big temporary kick in the nuts at the very least. And now what needs to happen is the next narrative Ethereum pushes. It needs to be bullish, right? And usually Ethereum always has one thing after the other, after the other. They always have a new update and a new narrative coming down the horizon. But the most immediate narrative, Frasier, is the unlock. All of this Ethereum that has been staked is going to be unlocking in around, I think, early 2023, right? If they're on time. But do you not see that unfolding as a massive FUD narrative? All this is
Oh, for sure.
so that's what's going to be building now, right? People are going to be trying to front run each other, selling before all of these. So a lot of people have staked their Ethereum through the beacon chain, etc., and they've been accumulating interest. They've been accumulating yield on that Ethereum, on that ETH, and they are likely going to want to sell that, right, to cash out some yield. So if I'm a market participant thinking, damn, that is coming up soon, maybe I sell a tad bit more. Maybe I sell a tad bit of my Ethereum, of my ETH, to kind of hedge against that, or maybe even buy back a tad bit lower so I get a little bit more ETH, etc., etc. Maybe I do some of that, right? I sell some of my stash. But then another market participant is thinking second order effects or third order effects and thinking, wait a minute, if Sean is thinking that he should sell a fraction, I should sell more than a fraction. I'll sell half of mine to be able to capture even more of a downside move. And that just kind of goes into a spiral. And you start seeing people just sell all of the ETH leading into that big unlock event. And I think that lines up with what we talked about on the at BTC chart, going into the Bitcoin halving. Because now, dude, the Bitcoin halving narrative is going to start coming into force. Suddenly, we're 4 months in, 6 months in, 8 months later, and we're like, damn, the halving is coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. And Ethereum might be doing really bad throughout that entire period because FUD is going to start building up because of the unlocks, the downward pressure, the centralization. And let's not forget, the global picture at the moment is favoring Bitcoin because sovereigns don't want to be tied to a proof of stake system that is controlled primarily by the United States. Sovereigns are going to want something more like Bitcoin, where it is truly theirs and not based on staking on servers that are controlled by the United States. So I see all of this unfold over the next 2 years, man. What do you see?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, well, especially with the unlock, is there a date? Like, is there a date when all that staked ETH becomes liquid again?
I don't think there's an official date, right? Ethereum doesn't like giving official dates because they're likely going to be delayed. And you know what, dude? I think the only bullish thing right now that they could pull off is constantly delaying that unstake. Because they're putting a limit to, there's something else, that people think is bullish, and you and I both know from experience that is effing bearish. They are putting, and someone mentioned this in the Grove too, and I don't think he understands. He's like, Sean, no. Ethereum is going to be putting a limit on how much you can unstake. They're not going to allow everyone to withdraw at the same time. And we both know through our experience trading in 2017, 2018, that when you put a limit on how much people can unlock at a time, it is just relentless, long-term downward pressure because the market is thinking, damn, there's going to be sell pressure forever. This is never going to end, right?
That's crazy.
They
So like
actually
these
did
people
that.
locked up.
Yeah, go
Man.
on.
Like, so people who staked, like sent it to like the beacon address, they've been locked for a while now, right? Like 2 years now, or
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe more, maybe somewhere around there.
so if they do timed unlocks, like, man, like I can't believe that. Like, that is insane. And like, yeah, like that's crazy. I could not imagine sending ETH and then being locked for multiple years to collect like 4% interest or something. Like you could have loaned on Avi and made more.
Yep. And
It makes no sense.
and it's not going to stay. The APR is not going to stay as 4% or 5%, right? Because if you take into consideration that enough people start staking, everyone falls for this narrative and they start staking, yes, you're going to be locking up more supply, but that yield is going to start dropping drastically as well, because the way it's calculated is, hey, we have a basket of yield that we're going to divide amongst all the stakers. So the more stakers, the less yield, right? And on top of that, by the way, they increase the issuance. They increase the issuance of the protocol with more stakers, right? So inflation is going to go up, and you're going to get more yield. So the real yield is going to be far less.
Yeah. Wow.
These factors people
just
not take into consideration.
Yeah, that's crazy.
More than all
Like
of this,
that-
dude, I think the biggest bearish thing is the fact that you're going to have a bottleneck of stakers over a prolonged period, and they're not going to let everyone unstake at the same time. I think that is really bearish.
Was that voted on?
I think so, dude.
Or-
I think they agreed to. I think they think this is a good idea. I think that's so much edge,
Man.
dude. I think they
They're
don't
in for a
know, right?
treat.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And like everyone staked will just like big money will just sell futures into that,
Yep.
even if they don't have the ETH already. Like that'll be it's gonna get messy.
You're going to have big money selling into that to go short, and you're going to have other big money selling into that to hedge against their ETH that is sitting staked, right?
Yeah, like wow. ETH BTC is just gonna get even more and more messy. But like right now on ETH USD, like where I would be a buyer is around 1250 personally.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I like that.
I think yeah, like I think there will at least offer, like I think that's a pretty good bid. Like 1250 there. Like pretty much the top range of the like previous consolidation. Like I'm pretty sure all these lows get swept, and like right now two out of three have been taken, and like that last one will probably just be like a single daily candle straight down,
So,
forcing everyone out.
so that's really interesting. Are you? What time frame are you looking at the moment?
Daily.
Daily, eh? Okay, cool, yeah. No, I agree with that then. If you're looking at the daily, that's exactly my target too, around 1200-ish being a key level. Do you see this as a distributory pattern, dude? It's looking a lot like what I saw on the BTC pairing that broke down.
Yeah, like it could be. It kind of depends on what happens around like 12,050. Like if we start losing that level and start like closing below there, like that would be a nasty top. And like at that point, I think we'll see like 650, 700-ish.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I was waiting for that. I see that too, because if you pair this with what's going on Bitcoin, if Ethereum breaks down over here now, Bitcoin is likely going to lose key levels as well, right? So I see Ethereum taking out its previous lows, which is currently 884, coming down to around 750, 780.
Yeah, like
Go on.
that would be my ideal like spot buy. Like if we get into like those kind of levels, like I will just like market by spot.
780, yeah, I think so too. So
But and like
how do you decide then for the investors out there? You're sitting on spot cash. How do you decide? Okay, should I buy Bitcoin now? It's sitting sub 20k, or should I buy Ethereum sitting 780?
kind of tough call, honestly. ETH is more volatile, so like if you're looking to play bounces, and like I also think ETH USD charts pretty clean, like for what I'm looking at. Like if the game plan like works out, like I know exactly like what I'm doing in terms of like where I want to buy like complete capitulation and like where I want to like take profits, and like the bounce would be, you know, like 100% ish, but
I see.
yeah,
I see.
I don't know, like I don't know. Like usually I recommend if you want to be more risky, go like 60% ETH, 40 Bitcoin,
Mm.
or if you want to go like more conservative, like 70-30, like 70% Bitcoin,
Yeah.
30 ETH personally. Just
So
because like I think there's opportunity trading ETH
I think
for
so
sure.
too. But when you're buying spot, and if you take into consideration this entire conversation that we had today, where we laid out where ETH BTC is sitting at the moment, and what the narrative is going into Ethereum for the next 2 years, which is, I think, the positive stuff is may not be entirely priced in, but I'm beginning to see a lot of negative stuff that people are not taking into consideration either. So it's kind of tough there. But you look at the
Yeah,
ETH
like
BTC
well,
chart, it's telling you, hey, maybe. Okay, so if Bitcoin dumps, Ethereum dumps together, okay, on the USD pairing, and you're looking at ETH BTC then, and you're like, ETH BTC is still sitting at 0.07. Do you buy Bitcoin? Do you buy Ethereum? Do you make your decisions that way?
I just make them straight on. Like I don't think ETH BTC leads ETH USD, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
in
Okay.
my opinion, from my experience, like ETH USD leads ETH BTC, and like I think that's why the ETH BTC chart is just so uh, choppy.
That's profound. Yeah. Kusha was trying to like drill that into my head as well last year, because that's one of the mistakes I make.
Yeah, so like I don't yeah, like ETH BTC is just kind of there for me. Like I can't trade it. It just doesn't work for me. But like ETH USD is definitely way more volatile than Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because if you bought the lows, even this time around, on the 3AC dump, you would have been much better off buying Ethereum versus Bitcoin. One thing that I did in the series that I've been building, dude, where I have taken a really, really small account and I'm looking to grow it, showing people that, hey, you don't need crazy leverage, you don't need a big account to make money in crypto. What I did was I recognized that, wait a minute, Ethereum is doing really, really well. I'm going to use Ethereum as a proxy to put on my leverage trades on Bitcoin. So you can use Ethereum as a proxy to get a little bit more confidence on your trades. So that way, you're not putting on the risk by trying to catch the bottom, or putting on the risk really by trying to catch Ethereum's volatility, because it could go either way against you as well, right? While it's volatile towards the upside, it's volatile towards the downside as well. But let's say Ethereum sitting on a key level, Bitcoin sitting on a key level. Ethereum tends to lead in terms of the rallies as well, like the mid rallies at the very least. Ethereum starts making its key moves and starts breaking levels. Like if Ethereum clears the daily 21 EMA on a upthrust and Bitcoin sitting underneath the daily 21 EMA, you're like, okay, you know what? I think I can start getting ready to position for Bitcoin because Ethereum's already made the move. What are your thoughts on that idea?
Yeah, I agree. Like I feel like pretty much like since like the 2020 run, like Bitcoin has been pretty boring. Like we had a very long like consolidation top, like that was like well over a year, and like Bitcoin or ETH pretty much like led that whole consolidation, and
Yeah.
then like yeah, I feel like ETH has more narratives, especially with you know, people having to buy ETH to mint NFTs, and like there's a lot more like exciting kind of short-term bubbly stuff with ETH.
Yeah.
And like Bitcoin's kind of, it'll always be there, it'll always work, nothing will change. So like long term, like that's kind of what you're looking for. But like to play like kind of all like the, you know, the bubbles, like that was definitely led by ETH, like with DeFi, NFTs, all of that required you buying ETH. And especially with gas being so broken, like you had to buy a lot of ETH even to like participate.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you even consider this consolidation over here at the bottom, Bitcoin was far more boring, right? It didn't give you the same moves as Ethereum. So that's one of the failings that Bitcoin needs to like rectify soon in its price action, because you're thinking at all times, hey, if it's a bull market, should I just be going further out the risk curve and buying all coins? And if it's a bear market, should I just be in USD, right? So Bitcoin needs that kind of like excitement again to draw people in, because price at the end of the day is one of the best marketing tools.
For sure. Yeah. But like at the same time, like that's kind of its strength, how like
Just be there.
it'll always be there and not change. And like I think like long term, because like if you're playing the bubbly stuff, like all the alts from 2017 are dead. Like
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
and you know there's very few that survived, and like even the ones that are still like running, like EOS and all that, like did that even have a bull market
No, I don't
the
think
past
so.
2 years?
I don't think
Yeah, it's
so.
like
Nothing.
those holders are just done.
Yeah.
So like, and if you
Speaking
would have
of,
held Bitcoin from then,
yeah, Bitcoin
you
is just like, how do you pick, right? Essentially, is what you're trying to say. How do you pick?
depends on your risk and
Yeah.
like how much money you're willing to risk.
Because you could pick an altcoin that does tremendously well, and you get to tell all your friends that, hey, Bitcoin is boring, so and so altcoin made me so much money, buy altcoins instead. But you don't hear about all of the EOS traders or the waves traders, etc., who just held and held and held and held, and saw everything else pump, including Bitcoin, and their coins did nothing. So
Hmm.
that's another way to look at it. Speaking of bubbly coins and coins that have not performed against Bitcoin, let's talk about Atom. Okay, because you and I have both been looking at Atom, and I think there is a narrative of some sorts forming on Atom as well. What are you looking at over here? Have you been following anything on the fundamental side or just the charts?
Just the charts, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't looked into the fundamentals at all, really. It's just it was one of the few altcoin charts, like liquid altcoin charts, that are trading above the 1-day 200 MA. Daily cloud's green, trading above the daily cloud as well. Like it's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, it's if you look at what the cloud is doing in regards to in relation to the 200 MA, it's one of our key strategies that we used to use back in the day, right, in 2018, where you break out of the cloud, you break out of the 200 moving average, you put in a high low next, and then you see continuation. That's what it's doing. Your green cloud as well on the daily.
Yeah, and if you look at 12-hour,
Just switch to that actually.
the 200 MA is also curving up now as
Yeah.
well, and it's kind of staircasing up. So like it looks ready to trend, and like it could possibly only trend to like, you know, $25 or something. But
It's a big move.
yeah, it is like
50%.
it's one of the few alts that I've seen that are like looking strong.
Could Atom be the chain link of this bear market? Right? It seems to have a similar narrative where it seems to be like a I don't know much about it, so I might be embarrassing myself over here, but it's like a platform to bring platforms together, right? Not a bridge, so to speak, but that's kind of how they're building it. So it might be the Chainlink of this market, because Chainlink was doing something similar, right? It was an oracle that would allow different DeFi protocols to work with it for pricing mechanisms, etc., etc. So I'm hearing good things about it, and the charts are also showing good things. That narrative might be building, and it could just run, like you mentioned. We should keep an eye
Yeah,
on it.
and Atom BTC has like pretty much just been going sideways for like since like 2019. So like, but keep in mind, right now we're at range highs.
Yeah,
So like this
yeah.
could be a top for Atom BTC, but if this breaks out, you know, like multi-year accumulation
Yep.
and breakout, like especially being one of the like strongest trending alts, at least that I've seen. Like I think like a lot of like momentum traders will hop in as well, and you know it could start a nice Atom season, especially with like all other alts being just totally nuked, no volume, like everything's just pretty much dead.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not gonna miss out on this one. That's for sure. I've been watching it far too long to miss out on this trend, especially if it breaks the Bitcoin consolidation high. I've been watching this for a very long time, and when people um, asked me to do TA on this one on the live streams as well last year, I was always like, this thing's not done anything. This thing's not done anything. But now, I'm not just hearing about it through a narrative perspective, but the charts are looking spectacular as well. So if it does break out, I'd be remiss to not try for a position on this one. So Atom, is there any other altcoins you're looking at, man?
Not really, to be honest. I'm trying to stay like concentrated, just you know, like one or two alt positions. So like once I saw Atom, that's kind of like what I'm sticking to for now. But I'm gonna keep an eye on like if we break out of this consolidation, I think like this could really run, and like the market is waiting for something to kind of pop off. So like I think a lot of people will jump into like the next moving alt.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, people are just so bored right now. They're craving craving some action. So many degens in crypto that they're kind of fiending for some kind of big move, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like especially with like NFTs being dead, like all those guys are looking for you know, a move as well. So
What's going
like
on in the NFT market? You're a lot more clued in on that. Like, do you follow the Solana NFT space, or it's just Ethereum?
Me personally, just Ethereum, but I have a friend who kind of follows the Solana NFT scene. Like for the most part, NFT, like OpenSea volume's down, like, don't quote me on the number, but I think it's down 96% from the highs. So like pretty much like the whole market's dead.
And
Like it's a lot more extreme than like altcoins, just because like you can't sell a fraction of an NFT. So like when you're out of the market, you sell the whole thing. So like when liquidity dries up, it really dries up, because like you can't market dump anything. You kind of have to like list it, wait for someone else to buy. Like, so it's pretty sharp moves. But yeah, like OpenSea volume's pretty much zero. I still think there's big opportunity in it, like in good projects.
it's so hard to find them. I remember, you're gonna love the story. I was looking into NFTs like earlier this year, and I was like, man, like, how do people rate these projects? How do people decide what to pick? Because what I would pick seems to be like valued at nothing, right? So I was looking at a bunch on Solana, and I was looking at a bunch on Ethereum as well, and things like CryptoPunks, etc. I just looking at the images, I couldn't resonate with them, right? I'm like, I would never buy any of this, but there's this one project over here on Solana, and it's only going for like 3 sol, or I think 5 sol, and I was like, Krisha, this is the kind of thing I would buy, but nobody seems to care about it. And this project was called The Gods, right?
Oh yeah.
I was looking at it. I'm like, man, the art is so cool. I really like these. I really like how they've illustrated everything, and I see myself resonating with this. But clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about, because the market is not valuing this at a high price at all. So that was kind of like a anti-signal to me, telling me that, okay, Sean, you have no taste in the NFT market. Clearly what you like, the market doesn't like. And then the gods goes up to 13 sol, 40 sol, 50 sol, 100 sol, 300. And I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, it was sitting at like 560, 600 sol. I was like, Jesus, okay. So maybe I shouldn't have been discounting myself too soon.
Yeah,
but, go on.
That's the thing with NFTs. Like you can either buy them like as a trader and like have the tools to like actually trade them, or you buy them just because you like the art and other people agree with you, and price starts going up, and then traders start stepping in, volume starts going up, and then, you know, all of a sudden things will go like 40x in a week or something.
Jeez.
So
So how true is it that you need the project to not just have good art, but you need the project to have these leaders who are like kind of bring the community together, and I don't know what else they do, man, other than just have good art. Seems like they have like these airdrops and community. What do they do? Could you educate me on this? Like, what do the leaders do to make a project successful or not successful? Like Bored Apes, for example. What did they do right that made it successful? Digods. What did they do right aside from the art that made it successful?
yeah, it's kind of a tough call. Like, it's not as easy as, you know, people think it is. Like, you just can't, you know, spin up something and like all of a sudden be successful. To be honest, like it's kind of you just kind of need like a cult following.
Mm.
And yeah, like it's a tricky market to like be successful. And like another like use case for NFTs, like during like the bubble phase, was if you had a good like community, you could use your NFT to then get whitelist for another NFT. So like that was
Ah,
kind of the part of the cycle, like similar to like the private sale
I see.
ICO
I
cycle.
see. That's
So like
genius. Okay.
that was somewhat of a use case. So like you would buy what were they called? Uh like Lemon Friends, because the Lemon Friends community, like the CEO or whatever you'd call them, like people just liked them. So then other projects would be like, oh, we're giving away you know, like 200
I
whitelists
see.
to my project. So then people would buy like Lemon Friends
Just to get
to
the
then,
whitelist.
or you could have also bought a Lemon Friends for like $10 and now it's worth, you know, a couple ETH or whatever they were. So you could have got in early just because you liked it. So I don't know, like there was opportunity, and like I'm sure that's gonna like come again. Like it's definitely not gonna go away. It's kind of just like another form of altcoins. But yeah, just the way the market works, like you could have a 10,000 uh like collection, but on OpenSea, like there might only be like 3 to like 400 listings. So like the liquidity is thin. So if someone wants to put in like a, you know, a decent investment into a project, like you would pump the price up like a lot. So yeah, it was an interesting time. It was a pretty fun cycle. A lot different than trading altcoins.
Do you think NFTs are going to build up a narrative again leading into the next market cycle? Or you think Ethereum is going to have something new because they had ICOs last time around, NFTs this time around? Vitalik has been talking about something called soulbound tokens, which I looked into a tad bit. Have you looked into it?
I saw some stuff on Twitter about that today, but I think NFTs will definitely have another cycle because uh like uh like not even crypto people, but like normal people can like have like an emotional connection to a photo.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
true.
I think it's a pretty good kind of like gateway drug into crypto, especially like when price is going up. So like I think the mania will happen again. Will they have to be more than a profile picture? Maybe, but like ETH isn't really usable. So to like have any sort of game or like app to use the photo, like the average person, unless you have like 10K in ETH, like you can't really use ETH when people are using ETH.
Mm.
But you know, you could, you know, spend a couple $100 to buy photo, especially when things are going up. So I think it'll definitely happen again. And like
It may
yeah,
not be
like it'll just
on
be,
the Ethereum blockchain though, right? It could be on something like Avalanche, for example, because I heard that Avalanche is better for like gaming, especially gaming
yeah, it's
NFTs.
cheaper.
Yeah.
But like the main thing with ETH is that if it's expensive to use it, then like it kind of you know, if you own an ETH NFT, like you're kind of at like an upper class.
Mm.
And like another thing is that like US exchanges don't list any of these altcoins. Like does Coinbase have Avalanche?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask the audience.
Yeah, like ETH is offered like on every
Yeah.
exchange in the US. So,
I know Kraken
if
offers Avalanche for sure. So
okay,
yeah.
like if it's not offered on Coinbase, like I wouldn't be like too like bullish on that NFT market, because that person would have to buy ETH or or they would have to buy ETH. They'd have to send it to MetaMask. They would then have to use a bridge. They would have to bridge it over to whatever chain. Then they would have to send that to another wallet,
I
then
see.
send it to, like, there's so many steps. Like the average person would be like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's true.
what is this? So, but on ETH, it's like, okay, I'll do it.
And I don't think Avax has a good brand name either. I think Solana just flows off on people's tongue a lot easier, and they're like, "Oh, cool, Solana." And Sam is behind the project too, right? So it's Solana
Oh,
on Coinbase.
is it on Coinbase?
I would think so, right? I'd be
It,
surprised if it isn't.
yeah, well, like FTX has a like FTX.US,
Yeah.
so like that's pretty big too.
Yeah.
But I never really, or actually, I think I own two Solana
So
NFTs, but they're all like worth 0. I forget what they're called. Something.
So I
Yeah,
traded
I
on
can't even
all
remember.
three of them: OpenSea, Avalanche, and Solana. And my worst experience was easily Avalanche. It I, I I just don't see it being user friendly enough for the average person. Solana
What's the
was
difference?
they have like an X chain and a C chain, and you need to be on the right chain within your wallet to actually send out your, like, I don't even remember and I can't even explain to you, and that alone should speak volumes, right? And
Yeah.
if it's not simple enough already off the bat, for me to just enjoy my experience without having to Google and ask questions to the community, why would I use it? Like, why would I use it? You're already
And
starting.
you're a power user.
Yeah.
Like you've been doing this for years and you don't get it. Have you ever used like Solana?
Yeah, I've used it. It's freaking amazing, dude. It's I mean, amazing in that it's seamless. Like, I don't have to. It's like everything's instant and fast.
Phantom wallet or
Phantom wallet.
oh my, yeah, that has to be the best like Chrome extension
Yeah.
wallet in crypto. It's so clean.
Yeah, it's much easier to use than the MetaMask wallets, etc. The thing is, right, when you look at Solana, the volume that is transacted in the Solana NFTs, I believe DeGods is one of the top market caps now, even compared to the Ethereum NFT markets, right? There's some stat.
Is it really?
Yeah, especially when it was trading at around 500 Sol, because a lot of people were retweeting how Solana is now one of the top market cap projects, NFT, and the NFT leader, I think his name is Frank DeGods, tweeted out saying, "I'm so humbled to see that we are the first Solana project to overtake the top Ethereum project," something like that.
Wow.
So I think there's signal there for the next market cycle in regards to Solana.
Yeah. I mean, I had a like Solana was like my first NFT experience, and I just bought some random thing just to kind of try it out, but it was cool to be able to do it and only pay like pennies worth of transaction fees.
Mm.
So like I bought the NFT for like $30 or something. I lost like it's worth 0, but to test out
Yeah.
Phantom wallet and everything cost me like nothing. Like it
Yeah.
was like you don't even think about it. You just like kind of click.
And that's precisely what's gonna be needed for the next huge rally in the NFT markets, right? People are not gonna want to spend too much ETH on a JPEG when there is an alternative and a project has established itself on an alternative chain that is far cheaper. Because Me personally too. When I was trying out NFTs, I've gotten burnt in the DeFi space on Ethereum by trying out DeFi and not knowing it properly, and I've lost a lot of money there, right? So I'm like, okay, let's try it on Solana, because what's the most I could lose? And that's how people are going to enter the market, and you're going to get a lot more comfortable. And once you build comfort with a particular ecosystem, you're likely just going to stay within that ecosystem.
Yeah, like as long as there's a way to exit it though.
Yeah, the liquidity.
So, well, like just a US based
Oh,
exchange.
okay, that's what you mean.
But
I see.
yeah, like if there's a way to on ramp and off ramp, then like that's such a key factor.
Yeah, that's true.
But one ETH NFT project that like I'm just patiently waiting for is called Invisible Friends. Have you heard of it?
No.
Oh, you should look it up. It's I think it's definitely a top tier project, and like they just launched at a bad time, but I'm waiting for Invisible Friends. Yeah.
I'm typing it now.
I can send you the OpenSea link if you want.
I think I got it. My mouse has gone invisible. I'm not sure if you've ever had that bug. It's just funny that you mentioned Invisible Friends just then. So like I'm trying to like find my cursor on the screen with the hover feature. Okay, this is it, eh? Alrighty. Ooh, so it's only 2 ETH. Oh, if we say only 2 ETH, and then
Yeah, I'm personally waiting for like 1 ETH floor, just because like volume's so low that like if people really have to sell, you can't. So it's just undercut after undercut. But yeah, it's one of the OG animated projects,
Oh,
and
I was gonna ask
I
about
like that
this. Are animated projects like the new thing now? Oh,
it was kind of the new trend, but yeah, like I don't know of another animated project up to like this what's the word, quality.
yeah, it's clean. The art is really clean.
Yeah, and like the founder of this project has been animating for I think like 17 years or something. So he's not just some like guy who just started animating for an NFT or anything. Like this guy has like a history. He's
So he
like
has a
very
lot
well
of street
known.
cred, eh?
Hmm.
So what was the what was the highest this price went up to?
It minted for I think 0.2 or 0.3
Okay.
when
I
it
see.
opened on OpenSea. Like when it listed on OpenSea, like after mint, it was trading at like 10 ETH, and it's pretty much been in a downtrend since then.
Okay. Interesting.
But like projects like this with like a real person behind it, like they have partnerships with forget what the clothing brand is, but it's really big in Europe, and the clothing brand is going to or they already have it out.
Oh.
Like you can essentially buy, there's 10 different NFTs with multiple copies of it, and every season of clothing they update the NFT to be wearing like the new like tracksuit or
Really?
whatever. Yeah, so like this is the kind of project in my opinion that will like be around for a while,
So
because
so does this have that feature where like is this tied to a clothing brand and they're gonna like upgrade my clothing?
not
No, not yet.
if you're looking at Invisible Friends,
Mm.
like the Invisible Friends, no. But let me see if I can find it. I forget what it's called, but one of my friends is like real deep into this, and he's the one who's told me all about everything. I've just been waiting for the right price.
You should
Oh, I
invite him
found
on
it.
over to the Mango Grove. I could ask the community if they're interested in hearing more about this, and he could educate all of us. The three of us could have a chat, and he could like teach us his way.
Yeah,
We
that'd be
turn him
cool.
into an NFT expert in the community. He can start his following. Are you guys interested in learning more about the NFT market? And I'd be disappointed if you guys say no, because you can never not learn enough about anything. Don't ever dismiss anything. Okay. So okay, John says yes. I'm gonna try to. You're sending me a link. You said, Frasier?
Yeah,
Okay.
that version, like it's a different like token, I guess you could call it. This is the like these are all like the fashion lines for like this season. So like at every single season, um it'll be updated. So like you can see it's called like NYC 1118 2011. Like all of these will update to like when the fashion brand comes out with like a new jumpsuit or whatever. This NFT will update.
Wait, hold up. I'm trying to get to. It's really hard to navigate with an invisible mouse.
Oh, here, I'll send you a different link here.
No, I got it.
So,
I just gotta now find my mouse again, because each time I click, I gotta go to a new spot. Okay, got it.
yeah, that's annoying.
It's unfortunate. Happened during a live stream. I can't restart my PC either. Okay, guys, I just can't do this. I'm sorry. You guys can all Google this thing called Kith Friends. So this is a lot like the Invisible Friends, though, right? Is it by the same creator?
Yep.
Okay,
It's by
okay.
the same. Yep.
And it's going for 0.3 ETH. And so you think this could go lower too?
For this particular, like for the Keith friends, the value of it, just because like there's multiple copies, like there's only what so there's 12 different NFTs, but if you click it, there's multiple copies of the NFTs. So it looks like there's like 1,100 owners of like the first one. So like this NFT, the value, like if you wanted to like buy into it, uh like you could just be a part of that group if you wanted to, but like the rarity and everything, like you're not like getting like a deal or anything, and like there's no rarity essentially. So like selling it, like this is more of like a cool thing to like kind of build the Invisible Friends
I
brand
see, I see, I see.
essentially.
Yeah.
So like if you own an Invisible Friends and like you also want to own one of these, then like you could essentially just buy one. But like I wouldn't buy one of these expecting it to go up anywhere close to what an Invisible Friends
So
costs.
this is really interesting. Once you start looking at prices on the NFT market, right, you get a better sense of how market participants on the Ethereum market are likely going to behave. Because now this aligns a lot better with that idea that, hey, I'm not going to look at the ETH BTC pairing. I don't care. I'm just going to use my USD to buy Ethereum directly, because what matters is the USD price USD price of ETH for me, because I'm going to be taking my USD that I've earned at my job and buy NFTs with it, right? So people are going to look at ETH at low prices and be like, okay, my NFT is now become cheaper. Do you think that that's how it is likely to play out when we do see a dump? Because these NFTs effectively become cheaper on their USD pairings. Or are they going to go down too? Is that how it works in the NFT market? Do you see the ETH price collapse along with the USD price?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it gets
Like
that much
I don't
cheaper.
think the average person, like the retail person would not like look at like they're not looking for deals because they don't even know what they're buying really.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like they're not looking far, a year from now thinking like I'm gonna buy this cheap and then it will be something. Like those are the people that are buying into the mania, right?
Yeah.
It's the same with altcoins. Like no random person's like, oh, this altcoin is worth whatever. They've just switched to proof of stake. Like they don't even like if you talk to like a non-crypto person about anything crypto related, like they don't have a clue what you're talking about. So like the average person isn't looking at NFTs thinking it's a good deal. They don't even know about it.
So what are they looking at? Are they looking at the art, or are they getting sucked into the hype because of their friends?
Sucked
Hype.
into the hype when it happens.
Okay.
Like I think all of crypto really works like that. It's kind of like at least in my experience, right? Like all my friends have known I've been in crypto for a long time, but like people only start asking like, 3 months from the top.
Yeah.
So, and NFTs are the same, but NFTs are weird. Like it sounds like crazy, but like the like connection you can get with the photo and like actually like selling it, pretty tough thing because
Mm.
if you sell an NFT, right? Let's say you bought it for like zero point 0.1 ETH, you sold it for 1, you're happy with that, right?
Mm.
Now you have 1 ETH. If it goes up to 1.5, you can't even FOMO back in because you can't buy a fraction of it. Like if you
Yeah.
sell and it goes up and you
Oh,
don't
that's
have
so
more money,
true. You
you like
can't
you're
get
out.
position back. You're out. It's out.
You're out.
Shit. So that
Like
that that in itself makes a strong holder base, right? Because once they realize that, they're like, shit, I'm not selling.
well, and everyone hears the horror stories of people selling Bored Ape at like 5 ETH and then all of a sudden it went to like 120.
Holy shit.
So like the hold mentality is like strong and like all these people don't know how to look at NFT charts. Like they don't know the correct sites to look at. Most of them don't even know, like they wouldn't even know how to, like they have no trading experience to begin with. So like most people just hold for Moon essentially. But like that,
But that in
it creates a
itself,
good,
yeah.
it's a good environment when it's going up.
Because even if it does reach the moon, they're thinking, damn, if I lose this, I lose this because this is the only NFT I have, and I don't know if I'm going to catch another one that's going to go up higher. I may not be able to ever buy back my NFT because you can't have it both ways. You can't buy something because you resonate with it, and then when it goes up in price, trying to sell it, it's going to be that much more difficult because hey, you resonate with this particular NFT, and what if you don't get this particular NFT back, right? You may get something within the collection, but
Hmm.
will you? Because yeah, I see how the psychology plays into the prices skyrocketing.
Yeah, like what one of my like local friends, like personal friend, he was in NFTs like well before me, and like I would always like laugh. Like I didn't get it, but he ended up minting doodles, which is like a very big project. And like I think he spent like 500 bucks on 5 doodles or whatever, and he ended up minting a like a cat doodle. And like that was like 0.01% rarity. And on opening day, like right after mint, he listed it for 32 ETH.
Whew. So
And overnight, he sold it. And like floor price, like the cheapest doodle you could buy was like maybe 1 or something. So he made 32 times more than he should have.
Jesus,
So he was psyched about it, right?
yeah.
But if you look at like floor price on cat doodles, like I think it's like 400 ETH or something now.
What?
Yeah, like
Holy shit!
so if he would have held it, he would have made, but like
So the
yeah, like that's like a real life thing that happened to him.
wow, wow. And yeah, I was thinking, damn, he was able to flip a doodle to a node, and he can like be a staker now, right? Because he has 32
That's
ETH.
exactly why he did it.
Oh, okay.
He listed he listed it at 32 ETH as a meme and it sold overnight.
Jesus.
Yeah, and now it's worth over 10x that.
Damn. Yeah.
But and like he minted 5 for like I think it was like 500 bucks or something. Like it was like nothing. And now it's like a top tier project.
Did he hold on to at least one of them?
He only has one left. He sold the rest at like 1 to 5 ETH each. And like all-time high price, I think was like 25 or something.
But hey, man, that's still 500 ETH, right? If the floor price is still that much, it's good for him.
Yeah, well like the cat's still that, but Yeah, all-time high floor price was 35.
I see. I see. Oh, okay,
But
okay. I see what you mean. Okay, you mean that particular cat is was worth 500 ETH because of the rarity. Yeah, right.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, man, you should invite your friend over to the Grove, and we'll try to get him on, and he can educate us on the NFT market. But yeah, let's wrap up with with final thoughts on Ethereum and Bitcoin. So you have a target on Ethereum. If we do break down over here at around 1200, you said, right? That's lining up with the weekly 200 moving average as well, man. Are you looking at any
Yep.
further targets after that? If we do lose that, do you think we stop at
No,
lowers at the lows, or do you think we go much lower than that?
not sure. Like it's just level to level for me right now.
Okay.
So depends what happens there.
All right. So any upside targets for Ethereum? At what point do you look for upside targets on Ethereum? Because downside targets are simple. We lose 1450, look for 1200. What about upside?
Upside would be like 2,500, but like structure wise, like you have lower high,
Yeah,
lower low. Like it's just it seems kind of almost too obvious that
it's primed to break down
we're gonna
Ethereum.
like I would be nervous being long here,
I,
but
I
yeah,
agree. I agree. I think upside targets on Ethereum you only look for after you take out weekly 21 EMA, right? And Tenkin, because price has been held down by the 21 EMA Tenkin combo for, well, since 3,500 really. Ever since we lost it back at 3,800, we've never been able to take back the 21 EMA Tenkin zone. And now again, 21 EMA Tenkin zone up against it, reject it. Claim that, yeah, 2,500. Okay, Bitcoin thoughts, final thoughts, upside and downside.
downside would be like 14K and upside 35.
Okay.
Possibly like 30 is also a level too. But yeah, I would like 30K, that's a pretty strong resistance as well. But we might wick up to like 35 if the liquidations are high.
I
Depends
tend
on the move too though.
I tend to agree with that too, and it's very similar story to Ethereum, but I think Bitcoin might be best played on the 4-day time frame. Tenkin 21 EMA combo again, and the 4-day 200 moving average could be the magnet if we claim the 4-day 21 EMA, 4-day Tenkin. What's the 200 coming in at? 200 is coming in at 35k. So yeah, 35k,
Yeah,
dude. A lot of confluence there.
and it's kind of like a C clamp trade
Yeah,
with Tenkin and Kijun.
indeed, exactly the C-SPAT rate. All right, guys. We're going to be wrapping up over here. Do you guys have any questions for Frasier? Frasier, any parting wisdom for them? If you had to drop one piece of advice for aspiring new traders.
I think the main thing is just survive.
Yeah, survive. Survive
Just
till
make it through it.
2028, and you're all going to
Yeah,
be millionaires.
it will get easier as well. So if you survive through the rough patches, then the bull market will you'll make a lot during the bull market, but you just got to stick with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Frasier. I'm hoping to have you on here more often, man. I had a freaking blast today, just talking, learning, catching up, and shooting the charts as well, dude. This was freaking awesome.
Yeah,
We
that
should do
was
this
fun.
every
Thanks for
weekend,
having
man.
me on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna see you in the Grove on Discord. And for those of you who have not joined our Discord yet, make sure you join us at themangoway.com/Discord. Until then, do the mango way, do it the easy way, do it the stress-free way. Ciao, guys. And I just realized I can't end the stream because my mouse is still freaking invisible.